divide in religion, I think, is also very interesting. How Hindus view news, how Muslims, and you have looked at two religious sets, Hindus and Muslims, because I think the other you didn't find enough sample size.
Yeah, smaller sample size, because it will be in proportion to their share in population.
Yeah. So now Muslims are less trusting of all types of news than Hindus. They still trust DD more. If it just talking about Muslims, your respondents, the trust was highest among DD, then newspapers, then private, then radio, and then online website. तो -3 में है उनका trust बिल्कुल नहीं है. So what is this very interesting religious divide in how they trust news?
I am not at all surprised by these numbers, because if you look at what keeps happening day and night over these private news channels, there are reasons for Muslim to be less trusting these private news channels. That doesn't happen so frequently over DD, because DD is mainly about news. They have very little program on debates. So I think it is understandable that Muslims have a particular attitude towards news when it comes to the channels which are serving news. So highly trusted DD, slightly less trusted newspapers, less trusted private, and then if you go to the social media or the website, it is minus, because these figures have been calculated between looking at the high trust and the least trust, and then so getting one number. So you look at the social media, you randomly, if you watch any social media, I think 6 out of 10 would be doing something around Hindu-Muslim, Hindu-Muslim. And what is this Hindu-Muslim?
It's all about rumors about Muslims at the center of the rumor, basically.
क्रिमिनल कौन है, मुसलमान होते हैं, बच्चे कौन पैदा करते हैं, मुसलमान करते हैं, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा, ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स. So there is reason for Muslims to be less trusting the social media.
And that is very dangerous, because then in a situation where there's a polarized event, if you're turned away from any sort of news, outlet, you're likely to put trust in an outlet which may not give you correct, information. So this is something to also think of Muslim news consumers, that private news channels have failed them. Of course, I mean, हम रोज दिखाते हैं nuisance में कि मतलब different type of jihad invent हो रहे होते हैं television news में. So how can they watch it and how can they have trust in that?
अभी हल्द्वानी के केस में अगर आप कोविड की बात करें, कोविड के समय में एक कैटेगरी है, जैसे हम जब क्रिकेट मैच होता है उस समय भी एक कैटेगरी होती है कि पहले अलग अलग स्लाइसेस में एनालिसिस की जाती है. फर्स्ट 10 ओवर्स में कितने रन्स बने और प्रोजेक्शंस किया जाता है. कोविड के समय में आपको याद होगा मरकज, इतने इन्फेक्टेड हैं, उनमें से इतने नॉन मरकज वाले हैं और इतने हुए हैं. वो एक कैटेगरी बन गई थी, एनालिटिकल कैटेगरी थी. ऐसी तमाम एनालिटिकल कैटेगरी बना देते हैं हिंदू मुसलमान रिलीजन के आधार पे. तो नेचुरली, और वो सारी कैटेगरी जो है वो एक पिक्चर प्रेजेंट करती है. व्हाट इज दैट पिक्चर? पुटिंग मुस्लिम्स इन अ नेगेटिव लाइट, नेगेटिव पिक्चर. So that is why the kind of opinion which we are getting is not surprising.
That trust.
So yeah, in fact, in the study also, 52% of Muslim respondents said that currently media is very little. So that question was, do you think that media is doing covering your interest, issues and interest while showing the TV show or other news items? So 52% of the Muslims said that media is giving very little time or news coverage to them. So this is there. In fact, there is a question about trust in, so whether media is freer, is more free than earlier, or is less free. So Muslim against Hindu categories, they are more likely to say that media is not free. So you'll see that category there also, कि उनका trust पहले के मुकाबले में media जो है वो पहले से कम free है while reporting the news. So वो दिख रहा है that Muslim they are not happy with the kind of news channels are presenting.
और ये actually बहुत depressing situation है, because इतना एक sizable chunk of population, if they are turning away from news and they don't see hope in, so it's a very depressing reality too.
In fact, all the marginalized communities felt that their interests are underrepresented in the mainstream media.
Which brings me to a very interesting table that you guys have made. which is perception of news media consumers about news media's coverage of key sections of society.
Yeah.